Hey, welcome to Midweek Motivation. I am Gabe and this is Stacy, and we're going to be talking today a little bit about hope because that was the topic, or one of the topics of our message this last weekend at Westside Community Church. If you missed it, go back and listen. Just one episode back. We'd love to have you do that. But I want to introduce Stacy because you may not know Stacy. Stacy is our kids ministry director at our church and has been doing a great job there, loving all the families and the kids and all those things. But what you might not know is that Stacy has recently completed her coursework for marriage and family therapy and is starting to serve individuals and families through counseling, just adding that as one more hat to everything that she does. But I'm excited to kind of just talk with you a little bit about this topic of hope because it can be really tough. I mean, technically, I think we're calling this episode Hope for the Holidays. Mm-hmm. It's a tough time of year sometimes for people. It is a tough time of year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we talked about on Sunday was that hope is more than just a wish. You know, in some ways, if hope doesn't change like the way you approach life, then it probably hasn't actually sunk in. It's probably not really hope. It's probably just wishful thinking, right? We defined hope a little bit on Sunday as it's positivity rooted in promise. It has more behind it than just good thoughts. And so there's some weight and some substance to it, right? When it's real hope, and it drives that spirit of optimism, even in a hard time.
Well, research shows that people that do have hope are better able to cope with difficult circumstances than those people that are pessimistic and don't have that hope.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts about why that might be?
Well, I think, especially at this time of year, I think that people are lonely. Yeah. You know, families don't all live in the same town anymore. Families are spread across the country, across the world. Families are broken, relationships are broken, and people are finding themselves really alone and having nobody to talk to.
Yeah, that's tough.
It is tough.
Yeah, I mean, and you're dealing with, I was thinking about why is this a harder time of year? And at least one thought came to my mind is if things aren't going great for you, you're kind of watching everyone else be merry and bright and going like, why isn't it like that for me?
Well, and you're remembering traditions and memories from the past. Yeah. And, you know, you're missing that because you're not able to relive that and you don't have that happening right now.
So if this time of year has you a little bit down or feeling dark, we want to talk about some things that you can do that are, that'll be helpful. So you want to help us out? I mean, give us some strategies. How do we do this?
Sure. So there are different things that you can do to either find hope or to stay hopeful. And one of those things is to go out and make connections with people, whether it's virtually or, meeting a friend for coffee, just having conversations with people. That's one way to get out of that hopelessness.
Why does that help?
Well, I think we're made to be in relationships, right? We're relational people. And just being able to have an ear, somebody to listen to what you're saying, and it isn't even a matter of getting their advice, just having somebody to just listen to what you have to say.
That's awesome.
Makes you feel validated.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's one thing. Another thing is ask for help. I mean, you might feel like you're alone and nobody cares, but don't believe that lie. People do care, and people may not know exactly what to say, but they do want to help you, and so don't be afraid to ask for help.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Keep them coming. These are great.
Keep them coming. Go out and serve the community. Go out and volunteer at a food bank or a shelter, or just getting out and serving other people. You're not only helping others, but you're just really filling that, a need that you have for connection and for purpose and, something that you can do to get your mind off of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's true. Once you start focusing on what somebody else's situation is like, and especially if they're going through a hard time, maybe differently than you, or maybe even worse than you, it does kind of change your perspective on what you're going through. Maybe it's because you realize you're not the only one, you're not alone.
Right. Yeah. And oftentimes, even by just talking with somebody, you may find yourself in a conversation where you're able to share a little bit about what you're going through, and you may be helping someone that's in a similar situation because they can identify with what you've gone through, and they can have some hope to see that you've come through the difficult circumstances. And be able to
holiday serving times can be very meaningful. Maybe if you're watching this right now, you could throw a little comment like, what was one of your favorite times of serving. I can remember times where we would maybe go down to like a homeless shelter, and that's the cliche thing, but it is so cool to go serve somebody who's houseless, and maybe with a meal or with some kind act, and those things matter. So maybe throw your favorite one in the comments.
I remember delivering a meal to a family, and the little boy came to the door and he said, "This is the best day of our lives."
Wow.
It was awesome.
That's great. If you're looking right now for ways to serve, you can find out some opportunities this weekend at the Westside Community Church service. And so just tune in. We would love to have you do that, and you'll catch some really, really neat ways to make a difference this season. Yeah.
Some other things you can do is, express gratitude rather than dwelling on all of the things that are difficult in your life. To just try to find one thing, and there's always one thing to be thankful for. It could be the sky is blue today, it's not raining, or you got a letter from your nephew, or somebody said hello to you in the line at McDonald's. Just there's always something, if you look really hard, that you can be grateful for, and just changing that thought from what's difficult to what I have to be grateful for.
That's really great. And what if that doesn't come naturally? I mean, what are some really practical ways to express gratitude?
Well, one thing that I tell my clients is to keep a journal.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, start jotting down things that you noticed that you're grateful for. And for my clients that are Christians, we talk about things that you've seen God do for you, how God has worked in your life today, and what you can be grateful for there. And then that gets you just starting to think about the positive things that are happening in your life.
Yeah, that's good. Cool.
Yeah. And take care of yourself. We're all running ragged at this time of the year. Yep. We're shopping, and we're decorating, and we're cooking, and we're baking, but we need to really make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, and we're getting enough rest, and we're eating well, and doing things that are fun. Not just stressing out over all the busyness that's going on.
I recently was kind of feeling exactly like you just described, and I was texting with a friend, and he said basically what's up today? And I was like, well, juggling this and that. And I said, but I'm going to try and get just a little bit of quiet time. And he responded back with the words self-care. He goes, yes, self-care is so important. And I was like, I didn't think about what I was saying as self-care. Mm-hmm. And it made me think about, am I even paying enough attention to that aspect of my life at times? When you're in those busy seasons, you're pushing through. But wow, I mean, and that was just kind of like a little bit of a wake-up call to me, to just be thinking, you got to balance that out.
Well, you think about your car. You've got to take care of your car and make sure it's maintained and give it gas in order for it to run. And you need that too. You need to maintain your well-being and feed your soul and keep yourself going. Okay, let's dig into that for just a minute. Okay. Self-care, taking care of yourself. Give us some tips on how to avoid going. I mean, one, how do you know when you need it? On the car, it's easy. The light comes on. What's the light in our lives? I think it's when it's no longer fun. Okay. When, somebody asks you to join them to do something and you're thinking, ugh, I don't really want to do that. Yeah. I used to enjoy that, but I'm not enjoying that now. Or if you've got so much that you're thinking about having to do that you don't even know where to begin. Yeah. Okay. Feel a little paralyzed. And overwhelmed. Yeah. Okay. That's great. Okay, and then so what are some practical things that we can do? Well, I think being mindful of how you're feeling, and being aware of those times when you are feeling overwhelmed. Yeah. And stopping and just assessing, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I have this to-do list. What's really important on that to-do list? What really needs to get done? And what is, if I don't do X, Y, and Z, is it really going to matter? And giving yourself grace to not be perfect and not to complete everything that you feel like you need to do. Oh, that's so good. Give yourself grace. Yeah. That's hard. It's easier to give other people, I think, in some ways, to give other people grace. It is. My wife and I, we love to just go find new food places. That's what we do for fun. And I suppose in some ways that can be self-care. Absolutely. You're taking time to do something fun that you enjoy. Mm-hmm. And with somebody that you enjoy being with. Yeah. I love the journaling thing. I do journaling myself. It's just, for me, really therapeutic just to get all those thoughts out, to look at them and go, oh, that's how I'm feeling, or that's what I need to do. And that's helpful. Any other tips? Think about what you have enjoyed in the past. Okay. That maybe you could pick up again. You know, maybe you were an avid reader and you haven't found time to read. Yeah. Or maybe even the want to even pick up a book. But if you get that going, find a good book to pick up and start reading, you might find yourself really enjoying that.
Yeah.
Reaching out to people.
Yeah.
Whether it's, I don't know if I said this already, virtually, or I recently have reconnected with a bunch of girlfriends, and we live all over the country, but we get
cool.
together once a week on a Zoom call.
Really?
And so just having that bit of interaction with people that I enjoy and are important to me just helps lift my spirits.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it probably goes without saying, but we should say, one of the things to do to check, I think, is to go to the doctor also if you're feeling really down. And it can be so simple. I mean, my wife realized, this is a couple of years ago, she realized that she had been kind of feeling a little anxious. And so she went to the doctor and they were like, oh, yeah, you're low on B12. And it was like, oh, that's a pretty simple fix.
Right.
So that kind of brought her spirit up. So I think sometimes we can't overlook that our bodies, somebody once said, our bodies and souls are so closely linked together that they catch each other's diseases.
Right.
So sometimes if you're feeling down, let's don't ignore that for sure. But then these are the things that, can go alongside the physical health to bring you into that place.
And, you may need to seek a therapist, just somebody that's unbiased.
I know somebody.
Do you?
Yeah.
Somebody that's, just there to listen to you and to help you heal and move on from whatever difficulties that you're facing. And it used to be such a stigma. If you were going to see a therapist, there was something wrong with you, but that's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
I think everybody can benefit from seeing a therapist.
Awesome. Okay, what about the spiritual side of hope? When it comes to relationship with God, how can we take advantage of that to build hope right from the ground up?
Well, I know personally, I went through a time where I was really alone. It was kind of a dark time, and I was alone here in Oregon, and I really had nobody to talk to but God. So I spent a lot of time with him. So I would say reach out to God. And a verse that was really impactful for me then was Hebrews 4:16. And I'm going to read it to you. Let us approach God's throne of grace with confidence. And I circled the word confidence, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. To go to God confident, knowing that you can't wear him out. You can go to him and he wants to help you. And he knows what you're going through, right? And so he wants you to come to him, and he wants you to pour out your heart to him, and he wants you to know how loved you are, and he wants to help you. And so spending some quiet time with God and in his word and praying.
That's awesome.
Helps a lot.
Yeah. I think one of the things I love about spiritual community, being around others who are on a spiritual journey that parallels yours is that you're getting all of the above. You're getting that connection with your Creator and the teaching that is so valuable, to go in and encourage your soul and fill your heart. You're also, getting not just the connection with your Creator, but also then with the community who's going to be like your cheerleaders and stuff. And so if you're feeling lonely this time of year, we want to encourage you to lean in to westsidecommunitychurch.com. We'd love to help you take a step. One little thing I want to mention is that when you think about hope, and you already said a little bit about it, which is like hope is something that you can experience. And then once your tank is filled and you start to be able to give it away, doesn't it just ignite a light inside of you, a purpose, a sense of purpose and meaning? And you want others to know that they can be hopeful, and that there is hope, and that's the driving force, I think, behind a lot of people that have been through difficult times. And God says, he promises He's not going to waste any of our pain or any of our tears, and so by being able to get through your dark time and have hope and be able to walk with somebody else through their dark times and help them see that there is hope. And that's really good. Yeah. Well, we hope that that's what you experience. I want to say thanks to Stacy for sharing your wisdom with us, and thanks to you for listening in. We hope that you'll pause and subscribe to this channel and like it and share it so that we can get the word out. And also want to invite you to stop by a Westside service this weekend. You can do that online at westsidecommunitychurch.com, or you can bounce right into our physical campus here in the Portland, Oregon area. We would love to see you either way. We hope you have a great week. And leave a comment if you love the squeaky chairs.